Hello everyone, and welcome to Mommy Reads Stuff. This is our first video and I hope you will enjoy. We are going to start with 5 creepy stories from Reddit's Let's Not Meet. Creepy Guy by AllAgesGaming. This is my very first post. I love to play soccer and I started in 2012. I have not seen any creepy things before, except this. I was playing my soccer game in the fall of 2016. We were practicing our shots when I missed just wide. The ball rolled over to a small 3-foot fence, and attached to the fence is a large 15-foot net. Over the fence was a valley with a steep slope, some trees and bushes. I always like looking there just to see if there's some soccer balls I could get. When I saw a medium-sized bush, I could see something in it. It looked like a guy with a mask on, and I did not think much of it. The guy waved to me. Okay, now I'm a little scared. I could tell he was holding something. I later saw that he was holding a machete. This was right around killer clown season, so it was usual. Except this guy wasn't a clown. He walked out of the bush and started running. I sprinted back to my bench, and I could tell he saw my face. The next shot I took was the last practice shot before game time. Our goalie stopped it, and yes, it rolled to the fence. I could tell the guy was much closer. I thought, holy crap, what the heck is this guy doing? About halfway through my game, it was off my mind. Then came when I was chosen to take a corner kick, and crap, it was by the fence. He was standing about 20 feet from the fence on the slope. He yelled, "Hey man, look here, killer time," instead of Miller time. This phrase still haunts me today. I thought it was a terrible pun. When I got called to the bench, there was a police officer there. I told him about the strange, creepy man, and he said he would go and look. He came back about 10 minutes later saying he found nothing, but the creepy guy found a way around as I saw him again later. I don't know how he avoided being caught, but I was really bummed to hear that the officer couldn't find him. He told me he would keep watch and hang out by that part of the valley where it meets the road, and there's no fence separation. The last minute of the game, the coach put me in as a striker. I was chosen to take a corner kick, so lucky me. The guy was now beating his machete against a rock. It went cling. He then stopped and ran his thumb across his neck. On the way home, we had to drive by the valley, even though I begged my parents not to, but they didn't believe me. It was a warm fall day, about 85 degrees. I stuck my head out the window. The guy must have saw my face. He ran onto the side of the road, and then right before he came out of sight from us, he chucked his machete about 30 feet. I will say I was impressed, but scared straight. The machete landed tomahawked into the ground, and I never saw that guy again. Creepy Middle School Music Teacher by unknownchickk. I'm a 17-year-old female about to graduate high school. I was remembering about the creepy music teacher I had in middle school. Let's call him Mr. Phil for privacy reasons. Anyways, Mr. Phil was my 8th grade band teacher. Since the beginning of the school year, he gave an uneasy vibe. My gut would tell me to stay as far away from that teacher as possible. He gave out pervert vibes, and he also looked so dirty. He would wear the same clothes for 3 days in a row, and he smelled like body odor really bad. He was short and Central American. I caught him numerous times staring at girls' boobs. I would wear baggy sweaters so he wouldn't look at my boobs. One time, one of my friends stayed in class after school to get her instrument out of her locker. Mr. Phil made an inappropriate joke about her boobs and her body. My friend, let's call her Anna, told me about the encounter. I told her to inform the principal immediately. She did, and the principal didn't do anything about this. One day, Mr. Phil told me I was his favorite student. He said it in a perverted way. He asked me if I wanted to help him clean the classroom because the superintendent was coming to look at our school. I said I had something to do after school, and he looked angry at my response. What he said was a lie. The superintendent did not come, and the teacher did not clean the classroom. I don't know what he had in mind to do to me, but I'm glad I wasn't stupid enough to help him clean. Another time I was at the library with my friend Bella. Mr. Phil made her uncomfortable too, calling her beautiful. Note that we were 13 and Mr. Phil was like 65 years old. Anyways, My band class made a petition to kick out Mr. Phil after he made us girls feel uncomfortable because of all his sexual jokes. It didn't pass. He would give us food that he made. We obviously didn't eat the food. Mr. Phil also had a van, just like the average creepy rapist. Fast forward at the end of the school year, I decided to Google Mr. Phil's name, and he got accused of rape back in 2010, but the court didn't have enough evidence against him, so they set him free. I told my mom about the music teacher. My mom was upset that I didn't tell her about what was going on. I honestly was scared to tell her. I don't know why. I'm lucky that nothing happened to me. Mr. Phil is still a music teacher, and it makes me sick that he works with kids and he's a free man. Kids, follow your gut. If you feel weird about a certain teacher, if they give you creeper vibes, please follow your gut. And please let an adult know if something is wrong. That's the mistake I made. I was right about Mr. Phil the whole time. Mr. Phil, let's not meet again. A Night Alone by Descom13. So I've never posted on here, but I wanted to share something that happened to me a few weeks ago. To start off, I'd like to say that I'm a 22-year-old female. I currently live in a studio apartment with my sister, our big Doberman Hercules, and my cat, Lilith. To give you some insight on my apartment, you have to go through the alley in order to get to my front door. When you first walk in, you see my bedroom, and a little further back to the left, you have the kitchen, and to the right, my bathroom. Now off the kitchen is another door that leads to the side of my house. My sister and I work opposite shifts, which means we're never home at the same time. I work first shift and she works thirds, so she leaves for work when I get home. Normally, it's pretty peaceful. However, this night, it wasn't. It was about 10 at night. I was currently home, alone, watching a movie with my cat and dog curled up next to me, when I heard someone knocking on my back door just off the kitchen. I ignored it at first, thinking maybe it was one of my neighbors. But soon, a hysterical laugh followed the knocking. It was a steady knock that caused my dog to go nuts. Hercules is a trained guard dog, so his barking caused the person to run off to my front door and start knocking again. My front door has frosted glass, and we put curtains over the windows so no one can see into the house. After a while, the knocking stopped, so my dog calmed down, and I went back to my movie. About 15 minutes later, a soft tapping came onto the window behind my bed. Just a steady tapping, followed by a throaty laugh. I paused my movie and ever so slightly lifted my blinds, just enough to see out, only to catch the back of someone walking away from my window and around to the front of my house. Now I did something at that time I thought was smart, but quickly realized it wasn't. I flipped on the porch light. In that moment, the alarm on my sister's car went off, followed by the sound of shattered glass and more hysterical laughter. In a panic, I called my sister's boyfriend, who lived about 5 minutes from me. When he got here, there was no one around, but the windshield to my neighbor's car was destroyed, and their driver's side door was open with all their stuff laying in the driveway. We called the cops, but the person was never found. My sister's boyfriend, however, did tell me that while he was leaving my mom's house, who only lives a few houses down, he saw someone just standing in the alley behind my house. That's My Car by Not the Mama 101. The last 2 days are some of the worst I've had in a while. Mostly relationship drama and almost stepping on a snake at work. However, the situation I'm here to tell you about has nothing to do with either. 2 nights ago, I was running late for work, which is only relevant because had I been on time, the first situation might not have happened. At 11 p.m., I was already an hour late for work, so my boyfriend and I were having a conversation, and we decided to move outside to smoke before I left. I was sitting in my car with it running, and he was leaned on the door next to me. Now, I drive a Mitsubishi SUV, so for context purposes, with my boyfriend only being about 5'8", he couldn't be seen unless you're very close. The only light was the headlights and the back porch light. And I caught movement out of the corner of my eye while looking at him. So when I turned, there was a very tall, drunk man coming down the sidewalk towards my car. I didn't think much about it because this isn't an unusual occurrence where I live. The man walks up to my passenger's door, and as my boyfriend and I share a glance, I roll the window down just enough to see what he wanted. As I did, he began babbling, asking for, from what I could gather, was a ride. Again, not unusual. What was unusual was that without waiting for my reply, he starts trying to get into my car. Luckily, thanks to my children, my passenger door can't be opened from the outside. I quickly rolled the window up past the point that you can reach in. At this point, my boyfriend stands up. The man spots him and begins apologizing for an excessive amount of time, saying things like, "Oh, that's your husband. Oh, that's your girl. I don't want to get in the middle of anything," etc. Then he runs off. I wish that's where it ended. Last night, almost completely forgetting about the event, I was again getting ready for work and talking to my boyfriend. As 9:30 rolled around, it was getting nearer to time for me to leave, so we again went to smoke. As I opened my back door and stepped outside, there on the sidewalk was the man from the night before, just sitting in between my car and my neighbor's. I immediately elbowed my boyfriend, who was reading and walking behind me. He looked up and then pulled me back inside. We stood in the kitchen watching this man for about 10 minutes. He would, ever so often, lay down on the sidewalk, out flat, and then sit back up, and just mutter to himself, loud enough that we could hear him talking, but not so loud that we could understand what was being said. I called the police after about 15 minutes, because I knew there was no way I was going to get to my car if he was still there. When the police arrived, I tried to keep myself distracted, because, honestly, I didn't want the people in my neighborhood knowing I was the one who called. They arrested him for public intoxication, I'm sure, but the most unsettling thing about it is that while I was doing dishes, I glanced up and noticed that the cops were taking pictures of something on the ground. The man had several knives on him, apparently, when they patted him down. So what was he planning? What would have happened had he been able to get in my car the night before? Creepy, drunk guy, please stay away from my car, and let's not meet again. Creepy Satanic Cult by Punkadelic13. My friends and I had the day off high school, and we wanted to explore an old abandoned hospital and psych ward. There was an old chain link fence around the hospital that someone had cut a small hole in, and that was our entry point. We crawled under the fence and through the gap in the door. It was dark, but we were stoked to be in there. Stupid, I know. 3 of our group wanted to explore the morgue and asylum wings. I was one of them. I'm into creepy things and was excited my other friends wanted to smoke some pot and get high. I'm goth and filmed the exploration. About an hour into the trip, we were in the part of the morgue where the dead bodies were stored. One was there. Okay, weird, I know, but that's what this area was used for. My friends were stoned, so I wanted to go to the asylum instead. We headed over to the east wing where the asylum was. We explored rooms upon rooms and found graffiti everywhere. One, however, read, "Thee who intrudes upon the sacred altar shall pay the ultimate price." This creeped me out. However, we continued through the asylum until we got to what was once a recreation room. This is where we found something chilly. A pentagram, painted in what looks like blood, and candles scattered throughout the room. They were all lit. We heard chanting and we all booked it out of there. I texted my other friends to tell them to get the freak out of there. Till this day, I get chills passing that hospital, and soon it will be demolished. If they were a satanic cult or whatever, let's not meet. Update. 13 people in black robes were found dead in the recreation room. Are they the ones chanting? According to the news article, it appears that they drank cyanide mixed with fruit punch. Creepy, I know. But also in the news article, they each had a copy of the Mein Kampf and a small portrait of Adolf Hitler himself in their robe pocket. So this creepy cult and its members, let's not meet. So guys, that was the first video of Mommy Reads Stuff. I hope you all enjoyed it. I always enjoy reading and I enjoy sharing it with you. So I hope that you enjoy these creepy stories from Reddit's Let's Not Meet. And thanks to everyone for letting me share their stories. I hope that you guys will leave a like and subscribe, and I will catch you next time on Mommy Reads.